So I want you to take a moment and I want you to write down in the next hour, you are going to hear from somebody who has a vast amount of wisdom and knowledge. This is somebody who's been trained by Letran, one of the leading speakers in the nation, New York Times best-selling author. This is a person who has overcome trials, struggles, and tragedies in her life to be a highly successful individual. So I want you to write down your intention. What's one thing you're wanting to get out of her presentation? And without further ado, I'm going to play this video about Dr. Emily Letran.
I live my life in gratitude and appreciation. I grew up in war-torn Vietnam and came to the United States in 1981 as a refugee without my parents. I was one of those boat people. I overcame many challenges: the language barrier, the lack of family support, and the shortage of financial means. Throughout the years, I developed strategies for success, having very clear goals and following through. Whether it is finishing undergrad in 3 years, adding a master's degree during my rigorous 4 years in dental school, or managing up to 3 dental offices with my team for several years. I believe life is all about the little moments, where we share the memories with our children and family. We take the time to serve the communities we are in and really live our lives to our fullest potential, where we have the clarity of purpose, the energy to maintain productivity, and the courage and influence to always be the best of ourselves. My mission is to help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve high performance, maximize their potential, increase and systematize business so they can win back time from work and spend that time with their family, their children, and pursue their passion. I want to be an inspiration to those facing challenges, whether personal or business, and invite them to join me in this journey to achieve high performance and live a charged life in alignment with the values, integrity, and passion. Dr. Robert Schuller said, "Tough times never last, but tough people do." I encourage everyone to work with mentors who have already been where you want to be, done what you want to do, and willing to take your hand, cheer you on, keep you accountable, and take your life and business to the next level.
Coach Emily Letran brought it home with her action-packed value information. Everybody left here another level up.
Dr. Letran helped me focus again on what I need to do to grow my business. I would recommend this to anybody.
I love working with Emily because she understands me, she really cares, and her insights and her teachings are very valuable and helpful.
I would highly suggest that you attend one of Dr. Emily's next events, or that you hire her to be your personal mentor or business coach. She is definitely going to take you places.
I'm so proud of Dr. Emily Letran. She is dynamite in a small package. I'm very excited because not only has she established an incredibly successful dentistry practice, but she got to that point matching a lot of adversity and overcoming it. And she's a testament to what the American dream really does provide. And now she wants to support other business owners in achieving their dreams, taking the knowledge that she's gained through the incredible experiences she's had to help you get your business to the next level.
Everybody on your feet.
So good evening, iconic leaders.
Good evening.
Good evening. How is everybody?
Good.
Good. So just like the introduction, my name is Dr. Emily Letran. I'm a dentist by education, been a dentist for 24 years, and I'm also a certified high-performance coach. So I help business owners and entrepreneurs maximize their potential, streamline their business, increase profits, so they can win back time from work and enjoy the time with their family, their children, and pursue their passion. So first, I'd like to say thank you to Joe and David, who neither one of them is in the room. So we say thank you to Chris. I want to say thank you to them for putting on this event. And I want to thank you everyone for investing the time to be here. I know it's Friday, right? You could be somewhere else and you invest, you want to be here. So I promise to give you values and actionable steps you can immediately go home and implement. And actually, why don't we start out with a gift? If you want to take out your phone and text to the number 21777, and you're going to text the word FAST. And when you do that, you will get a download to get my ebook. It's called The 5 Secrets to Grow Your Business. And that is an ebook where I share my story and my strategies on how I have grown my business for the last 24 years. So that's 21777 and text the word FAST. So who is Emily Letran? Well, I was born in war-torn Vietnam back in the late 60s. Growing up, what I saw on TV were bombings, people fleeing villages, dead bodies, and a lot of propaganda. In 1975, the communists took over Vietnam. So if you've seen in movies, they talk about Russia where people were standing in long lines to get food. Well, I was there. I was one of the little girls standing in long line. Sometimes we get stale breads. Sometimes we get moldy noodles. And that's what we live by. When I was 8, I lost my mother due to cancer. When I was 13, I left my dad. I left my dad because my aunt was escaping from the communists, so she took along her children and a couple of cousins and my older brother. They were leaving because Vietnam was going to go to war with Cambodia in the west and China in the north. So they were drafting all the young men. Now I'm a girl, I'm not going to be drafted. But my dad told me, you're the oldest one in the family, you're the oldest girl in the family, so you have to go and help your aunt. So I left, and I never saw him again. How many of you have been on a cruise? Okay. How about visited an exotic island? Good. Well, me too. My first cruise was on a fishing boat. It was about 50 feet in length, with 60 people crammed together like sardines. We were on the boat for a week. We had food for the first 2 days, most of which I threw out because we were in stormy seas. And then the next 5 days, just sips of water. My exotic location was a refugee camp in Malaysia, where we live in makeshift shelter with limited food, water, and electricity. So I lived there for about 3.5 months. When I came to this country, my luggage were hope and faith. Didn't have anything else. And when I came here, I had to learn to overcome a lot of challenges. First of all, there was a language barrier. So every night I would stay up to translate almost every single word from English to Vietnamese so I could understand what was being taught to me. I used to get up at 5 a.m. to deliver newspaper. So at 5 a.m. they bring a newspaper, you fold it up, put on your bike, and go deliver it at 6 o'clock. So I would make it back in time at 7 to go to school. I slept on the floor for several years because there were 10 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. And I remember my broken car story. I was in dental school. We went to a volunteer clinic in downtown LA at UCLA. And on my way back, my car broke down. I had enough money to have the car towed back to a shop close to my apartment. But I know very well I didn't have any money to get it out. Because my grant and scholarship checks we're not going to come until another 2 weeks. So I borrowed money from a friend who borrowed from her family. And that's how I got the car out. So because I started really at the bottom, and to me there was only one way to go, which is up, I was very driven. When I was an undergrad, I finished my undergrad in 3 years at UC Riverside. I graduated Phi Beta Kappa and magna cum laude. When I went to dental school, I went to UCLA, and in 4 years, I did my dental degree and a Master of Science instead of taking 6 or 7 years. Then when I graduated, I really wanted to accelerate. So I bought my first dental practice, and then the second dental practice, then a third dental practice. Life was good. I'm married, I have 3 children, I'm busy at work, I'm enjoying life at home. And then one day, my second grade son, he was about 8, came up to me and said, "Mom, next week I have a recorder performance at school. It's at 11 a.m. on Tuesday." So I was thinking, why would somebody have a performance at 11:30 a.m.? That means I would have to leave work at 11, go to school, sit there for half an hour, take a couple of pictures, and then drive back to work for about an hour, and then it would be time to come back and pick him up, because I was the one dropping him off and picking him up. So I got a little bit frustrated. I went to my daughter, who's 4 years older, and I said, "Jennifer, I don't remember going to the recital for you in the middle of the day when you were in second grade." And she looks at me and she says, "Mom, I did have a recital. You just weren't there." And that was like a slap in the face. Because here I am thinking that I'm very successful. I got all these dental practices, and life is good. But apparently, I missed a recital performance. And that's when I make the decision that I'm going to learn everything I could so that I could draw the correct boundaries between work and life, so I could be home for my children. I'm not going to be missing anything. And I would be also very productive at work. So I just share with you some of my challenges that I overcame. There was a lack of family support. There was a language barrier. There was a shortage of financial means. And there's a busy demand of work and life. I have a couple of questions for you. What is your boat story? What's holding you back? What's your challenge? Is it a stagnant business? Is it a financial challenge? Maybe it's a credit relationship. And what is your recording story? Are you at a turning point? Are you ready to do something different? I learned that being able to function in high performance is a key to achieving and maintaining success, not just in business, but also in personal life. And high performance in our lives is the result of heightened and sustained level of clarity, energy, productivity, influence, and necessity. High performance means you're succeeding and excelling above the standard norms consistently over the long terms. So because we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to share with you only a couple of the pillars of high performance. So first, let's talk about clarity. Clarity is knowing who you are, what's most important to you, what you're about. So I'd like for you to do an exercise. Why don't you write down 3 words that describe your ideal self? These are the 3 words that you want people to describe you, that you're most proud about. Everybody have 3 words? Yes? Okay, so once you have those 3 words, What I want you to do later on is to put those 3 words in your cell phone. And you set it up as an alarm. You have it go off randomly once or twice a day. Every time your alarm goes off and you go look at your phone and you look at those 3 words, they're going to remind you to live your day with intention. You want to live your day just like how those 3 words describe you. You can also do that. Write down the 3 words that describe how you would treat people. That's how you would create relationships in your life. And you can write down 3 words that make you successful. What are the characteristics that have helped you get to where you are today? I want to tell you a story about clarity. Oh, by the way, going back real quick to that story about the recorder where I missed the performance. After I already had my guilt trip, my daughter told me, by the way, you said auntie to the performance. So I actually didn't go because I set somebody in my place. But of course I didn't remember and she reminded me. So I want to tell you about this story. So 3 years ago when my daughter applied to college, she wanted to go to a guided tour at the UC San Diego campus. You can go to a tour of the campus, but the guided tour is when they actually walk you through and tell you everything. And you have to make an appointment. So the tour is at 9 o'clock in the morning. We made it for a Saturday. The Friday before that, I had a conference in Atlanta, a dental conference. So I flew down to Atlanta on Thursday, attend the conference on Friday, and then I went to the airport to go back home. So when I got to the airport, it was raining. Anybody been to Atlanta when it was raining at the airport? There's a lot of lightning and a lot of flight delay. So of course I got there and my flight got delayed. By the time I boarded a plane to go and connect in Vegas, because I was flying back to Burbank, I was pretty sure I'm going to miss that flight. So I called my daughter and said, Jennifer, I may miss the flight. If I miss the flight, I'm going to stay overnight in Vegas. I'll just come home the next day, and then I'll drive you to San Diego. But we're just going to miss the guided tour. We'll just go on we'll just do a self-guided tour. So she said, okay. So my flight got into Vegas at around 10 p.m. And of course, I just missed the last flight out. And I could go check in a hotel, sleep the night, the next morning catch a first flight out. Or I could rent a car and drive back home for a 5-hour trip. Now keep in mind, when I get home, I have to drive to San Diego, which is another 2.5 hours trip. So what do you think I did?
Drove home.
Of course. I wasn't going to miss anything else. So I rented a car. I drove for 5 hours home. I got home, took a 1-hour nap, woke up, drove down to San Diego. And of course, after all that, going to UCSD, she decided to go to UC Irvine. Yep. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is courage. Courage is doing the work it takes to get to your end result. Courage is overcoming your limiting belief. And the fastest way to get courage is really to have a mentor to hold your hand, cheer you on, kick you in the butt sometime, and get you to do what you say you were going to do. So my story of courage has to do with writing my book. You might have heard David mention, this is the book that I did with David and Jill. It's called From Refugee to Renaissance Woman. So when I wrote that story, I wanted to share the story to inspire other people. And when you're sharing your story, it takes a lot of courage because you have to be very vulnerable. After I wrote the book, I decided that I need to share the story with more people. So now I need to speak. Now remember, I'm a dentist. So I speak to a lot of people, but it's one-on-one when they're sitting in the dental chair. Probably a little scared of me, which is always good. So now I got to learn how to speak, do public speaking. And David mentioned earlier too, I told him I didn't want to be a speaker. Every time he'd bring me up in front of the room, he gave me the mic, I just look at him. Like, ask me a question, I'll answer. So this is my first public speaking. This is a group of about 20 people. I know 5 of them. And it was for a 10-minute speech. It was pretty nerve-wracking. This is my 3rd time on stage. It was a TEDx talk in Warner. So when the opportunity came, I decided I'm going to take it. That one was nerve-wracking too. Then I went and spoke at UC Riverside. It was a women conference. That was the school that I graduated from. So I spoke there. The next time I spoke was sharing the stage with Sharon Lecter in Utah. That's what Allison mentioned earlier. Then after that, I used the book to get an interview with this doctor. His name is Dr. Howard Farran. He has a podcast, and it is the largest international dental forum where he does his podcasts on. So I got on his podcast. Again, sharing my story, being vulnerable, but because I believe so strong in the message, that I'm going to go all out there and share that. So a true story of courage came about 4.5 years ago. So I've been in practice for about 20 years, and I have a situation where a dental insurance company decided to harass me. And it started out with some staff issue, having a problem with a patient, but it escalated. So they decided to harass me. And I talked to my malpractice insurance, and they said it's a third-party issue, so talk to another attorney. So I hired the attorney, and he said, well, the best way to stop them from harassing you is to sue them. Then they have to deal with the lawsuit. They're going to stop harassing you. So, of course, I'm a dentist. I don't have a lot of money, just stack aside to go into a lawsuit, but I did it anyway. Because I did not believe in them, just because they were bigger, that they should be able to harass me. So that lawsuit took 4.5 years. I canceled the contract with that insurance company and basically walked away from hundreds of thousands of dollars. There were a lot of nights, no sleeping. And the whole time, I lived by that quote. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. And you'll be happy to know, at the beginning of last year, I won that lawsuit. Thank you. So let's talk about productivity. For me, productivity is leveraging time. Productivity, a lot of people think it's a checklist, right? You check things off, you're being productive. Maybe things that you write down in the daily planner. The new way of thinking about productivity is to live each day fully with intentions. So I want to invite you every day to set out 1 to 3 goals. And you make sure that you achieve those 1 to 3 goals. When you write it down, make sure you write down who's going to be involved in getting that goal done. Sometimes we write down the goal, and then we forget to write down who's going to have to reach out to us to reach the goal, or maybe somebody that we have to reach out to get the goal accomplished. And then at the end of the day, we say, well, we didn't finish this because we couldn't get a hold of so-and-so. So when you write out your goal, make sure you write out everybody who is involved in that and everybody who will be accountable for you to achieve that goal. Leveraging time also means learning to say no. So the pictures say, not everyone likes me. At the bottom it say, but not everyone matters. So we need to get out of that mindset where we have to be, the most popular person. We're not in high school. If you have kids, you might want to be the most popular mom, but you don't have to be. So you need to learn to say no to things that you don't need to do. If you want to achieve productivity, you need to learn how to delegate. The fastest way to learn that is to have a mentor, somebody who tell you, no, don't do that. Give that to somebody else. You should train your team. And when you're training your team, remember that you may not be the best person to be the team leader. Delegate that to somebody else too. Even though you think you're perfect, that you should run your team. But you could also have a team leader. And you inspect what you expect. You set expectations and you make sure everybody understands what you expect from them. Look at your business and decide what part of the business absolutely requires you. The only thing, you're the only person who could do that. When I look at my business, back in 1999, when I have my second child, I decided that everything I do in the business, somebody could do it. I could have another dentist. I could have a manager running the office. And so after 2 years of having my first dental practice, I already had associate doctors. So now the dental offices that I have, we have general dentists who work with us. We have specialists. We have assistants that come in full-time, come in part-time. That's why I'm here talking when the office is still working. So revisiting clarity. Remember, when you know who you are and you know your goals, then you will only do the activities that support your goal. So it should be very easy to say no when people ask you to do things. If it's not part of your goal, you don't have to do it. If it's not on the calendar, you don't have to do it. The to-do list. Anyone in here have a to-do list? Great. So I just learned this from Joe Polish from one of the conferences I attended. How about a not to-do list? Have a list of things that you should not do. Because maybe they don't contribute to whatever you're trying to do. So have a not to do list. How about a not now list? Sometimes we try to do 10 things at a time and we don't accomplish any of the 10 things. Do 3 things, put the other 7 on the not now list. And when you're ready to do those, you can bring them back into your life rather than feeling stressed, feeling like you don't have enough time in the day. Now, why would you want to be a high-performance individual? If anybody have my business card, I list a bunch of things on there. I'm a high-performance coach. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a business consultant. I'm the founder of my foundation. I'm a dentist. And I'm a mom. That's quite a few things to do. I'm the best mom, by the way. And let me tell you, you need to claim your title because nobody will give it to you, right? But so here is why I want to be productive, why I want to be a high-performance individual. Because I can do more things with my time and my resources. This is a picture of me and my kids on our free dentistry day. So everybody dressed in a t-shirt. And then that's my team on the other side of the picture. Once a month, we do free dentistry day. We provide free basic dentistry to veterans and families of disadvantaged background. Now that's creating impact in a community level. What about global impact? This is another picture of me and the kids and a couple of team members. We went to Costa Rica for a dental mission. And the picture that you see there of me and a bunch of kids surrounding me, all of those kids are surrounding me because I brought them 2 brand new soccer balls. And there's a funny story. I have a different picture, it's not on here. We happened to be there during World Cup, and we bought T-shirts, and they were all soccer jerseys. We bought a bunch of Brazil, and we got there and Brazil lost. So there were several kids who picked up the soccer jerseys for Brazil, but Brazil had just lost. So my success here have been with a lot of mentors. I mentioned David and Jill Fagan. I've trained with Brennan Bouchard. I've coached with Les Brown. And my personal mentor is Sharon Lecter. So she's, for those of you who may not know her very well, she is the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and she is the mastermind behind the Rich Dad brand. I want to share with you 2 high-performance principles. The first one is only 2 things change in your life. Either something new that comes into your life or something new that comes from within. So why don't we make it something that comes from within? And the second principle is the best competition you have is against yourself to get better. And I want to share with you my why. On the upper left there is my son Alan. I took him to a business conference, and when I checked him in, he was with a teen program. I told him, this kid doesn't talk. You know, typical teenager, you ask them, yes, no, okay, one word. By the end of the week at the business conference, they were having all the teens, you know, giving their opinions about what the conference is. And my son just walked up there and he said, I want to talk. And in front of about 100 people, he said, thank you to Mom, thank you to all his friends, thank you to all the people that he met there at the conference. Because I don't just want to make a difference in other people's lives. I want to make a difference right in my life, in the next generation. In the middle, there's my son Austin. He's a little chatterbox. That's the picture of him graduating from middle school. He's 14. He's about to finish his first book that he wrote all by himself. There's no ghostwriter. And on the upper right there is the famous Jennifer. She's now in her 3rd year in college. And I took her to a Brennan Bouchard's event because I want to plant the seed there. I want the next generation to grow up as high performers. I want them to all live their life with intention and to be productive, even when they're very, very young. So have I provided some insights for all of you? A couple of good ideas? Yes? Okay. What I like to do is I like to invite you to my next event. I have a live event. It's going to come up in February. It's Saturday, February 25th, 26th in Costa Mesa. It's going to be a 2-day workshop. It's on high performance and business strategies. So the price for that is $997. The keynote speaker for that event will be Sharon Lecter. She will be speaking on both days. I have a couple of guest speakers. My friend, Dr. Isaura Gonzalez, she is an award-winning psychologist from New York. She's going to talk about emotional intelligence, how you're going to deal with your partner, your team, your customer. I'm going to have Matt Browning. He's the NLP Master Practitioner. You heard from him the other day. I'm going to have Becca Tabon. She's a certified fitness coach from Florida. She's beautiful and blonde, and that's all I'm going to say about her. And then I'm going to have Tina Alton. She's a psychologist and an international speaker. She's coming from London, UK. We're going to include a bonus. We can have a 60 minutes jumpstart phone call with me. We can talk about how you can become a high performer. We'll go over the pillars of high performance, how you can achieve that. The value of that is $500. And then you will also get a productivity blueprint. If you wonder how much I could do in 24 hours, I'm going to share that with that blueprint. We have a private Facebook group where you can personally interact with me, talk about all these ideas, how you can be more of a high-performance leader, what you can do to impact your community, because I'm sure you've heard it somewhere that the new currency is social impact. It's not so much the money, it's how much impact you can make in people's lives. So the total price for that is $15.94, and I'd like to invite you to come to the event for $97. Any question for me? No? Okay. So who is ready to take your business and your life to the next level? Anybody? One hand, two hand, three hand, couple of people? Okay. Well, I thank you very much for your attention. And just like a dentist would say, may the floss be with you.